When embarking on the journey to understand cryptocurrencies, you inevitably must understand the backbone of the crypto world, which is the blockchain. Investments in all kinds of digital assets, from Bitcoin to video game skins, it's set to explode due to blockchain technologies. With me to explain the blockchain and its many complex nuances is Shidan Gouran, CEO and President of Global Blockchain Technologies. Shidan, tell me, what is the blockchain?
The blockchain, Limor, is a method, a technology that lets you transact digital assets without having a third-party intermediary, or to actually transact anything without having a third-party intermediary. That's why it's so important, because it really is a database that anybody in the world can write and read from, while knowing that nobody else can tamper with what you wrote to it.
Right. And the blockchain was created originally for cryptocurrency. Is that accurate?
It was. It was originally created for Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and many other cryptocurrencies have come around it. And now it's starting to be adopted by the payments industry and the banking industry, who
Yeah.
plan on using it for transferring money as a money transfer system, transferring stocks, these kinds of things, in a much faster, more reliable, and efficient manner in general.
So while it's sort of in the mainstream more synonymous with cryptocurrencies and digital currencies, it sounds like it's being used in many different industries. Can you tell me a bit about some of the other ways it's being used?
Yeah, so you could actually build something like a YouTube or a Facebook, for example, that is a commons. It's owned by everybody who's part of the network,
Right.
because everybody has a copy of the software and the database,
Yeah.
and it's all synced up together. So that's really amazing. If you think about it, what it does is it allows like an Uber to become decentralized, and by that we mean that there's no central Uber that decides who gets paid, what the fare is,
Yeah.
and controls the database. But everybody has that, and it makes the taxi driver or the TV producer or any content producer essentially the important party, not so much the middleman who controls a database, which is what a web app really is.
Yeah. And so then, I mean, one of the advantages is, of course, now you're saying there's decentralization, which is very important in the digital finance world.
Yeah.
But what are some of the other benefits of having a blockchain?
Other benefits are provenance. So you being an expert in real estate, I'm sure you're aware that in a lot of parts of the world, provenance and tracking land deeds and whatnot is a
Yeah,
major issue.
sure.
This can actually bring this technology can make it much safer, much more secure in knowing who owned it, and being able to follow a chain of title for ownership, essentially.
Yeah, and there's greater transparency, if I'm understanding correctly, than in many of the other systems that we've had previously.
More so than any other system. So with blockchains, there's huge applications in the supply chain and trade finance space, for example.
Yeah.
Right now in trade finance, you don't know, or supply chain I should say, you don't know what the books of one of the suppliers was. But now you can chain up all the ledgers of everybody, know exactly what products were used to make something, where they're coming from, that they're legitimate, they're not knockoffs, whether it's a microchip or a component for a bag,
Yeah.
you'd still know that it's the real thing, and how it's all come together. And it allows the accounting of all of that. Right now, you take small samples when you do accounting.
Yeah.
Now you can take the whole big picture of the whole trade and everything that went into it with
And be
these
able to see what it
technologies.
looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's a lot of industries that could benefit from greater transparency. I mean, whether it's, like you suggested, property worldwide, or maybe even nonprofit or charity, but there's probably a ton of value that we'll be able to get with increased transparency.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the idea of digital currencies and community currencies shouldn't be discounted either. So
Yeah.
one project that we're working on is, in video games right now, digital assets have real value. There's something people go after, whether it's a sword or a car, it has value. You can actually trade it for dollars.
Right.
We're working on a consortium of right now 12 gaming companies who will be agreeing to use one universal currency within all their games, because
Yeah.
not any one of them controls it. The blockchain
Right.
controls it now.
Right.
So you'll be able to buy a sword, you'll be able to earn it inside the game and prove that you've actually earned it. So you can build games that speak to the blockchain and say, yeah, this guy really killed this monster. He deserves, this many tokens.
Yeah.
And you can use it from one game to another. So that's a massive deal, and we have 400 million users.
Absolutely.
Using that.
And that's a very creative use of the blockchain.
Yeah.
I know you don't have a crystal ball, but
Right.
what would you say are some of the exciting new things that we can maybe anticipate if we look sort of 5 or 10 years out that maybe we can't even begin to fathom will be on the blockchain?
Everything will be on the blockchain. Pictures, trading pictures and digital rights management, videos, that will be on the blockchain. Your loyalty points will be transferable from one party to another very easily.
Yeah.
And between different companies. Anything that can have potential value and can be traded will be put on a system like this, a very open network. And you're going to have things that look like currencies, thousands and thousands of things that look like currencies all over the world. Each community, each social network, maybe even each municipality will have its own token that it can issue to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Ton of creativity, and we'll see where life takes it from that perspective. So definitely very, very interesting. We'll have to keep abreast of where this goes.
Yeah.
Now, we've been referring to the blockchain, and I hear that commonplace all the time. Let's just bust a myth here. Is there only one blockchain? Are there lots of different kinds? Maybe you could shed some light on that.
Yeah, there's different kinds that actually employ different technologies that are better suited for certain applications compared to others. So there's thousands of them already, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even though we reference it, as the blockchain, it's a technology that, in fact, there's lots of them of where we have an opportunity to have the transparency and decentralization.
So
as you mentioned.
actually now an inter-blockchain network is becoming important as a concept. Blockchains being able to communicate with each other, so you can transact from one to another, without any intermediaries. So if you have that gaming token, you can trade it for Bitcoin on the Bitcoin blockchain, for example.
Right.
And there are solutions coming out for that. One of them I'm involved with personally called Laser, the Laser blockchain, which kind of acts as a Swift of blockchains and allows you to interact one currency for another on the blockchain itself. So things like that are coming around, and I think that's the future, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's great that you're on the cutting edge and working on this. Just as we wrap things up, what are you most excited about around the blockchain technology and where we're going?
For me right now, still the currency aspect is the most exciting thing. Like I said before, there's going to be thousands of currencies out there, and for a long time people thought that currencies were going to unify into one or two, like the euro, the US dollar, essentially. But what we're really seeing is that doesn't make sense, because why should Germany and Greece have the same currency when they have such different economies, for example? So you're going to have many currencies. Now it's possible. Before it wasn't, because now your cell phone is your wallet, right?
Of course.
And the cash register is just a computer, as a point of sale system. So you can have thousands of currencies in them, and they can easily transact with each other. And
well, that's the trick, right? As long as they can interact with each other and exchange and go from there.
That's what blockchains really help with.
Fantastic. Shidan, thank you so much for being here today. Really
appreciate
it.
Thank you, Limor. Yeah.
As you can tell, there are no limits to what can be achieved leveraging the blockchain technologies. It is certainly going to be a part of the evolution of many industries. Coming up after the break, we'll be discussing why investing in a rent-to-own and helping a family get into a position of home ownership may be a far better investment than purchasing a rental property. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.